guys, welcome back to my channel, Board Games in a Minute. This is not going to be a regular weekly playback episode because I'm still recovering from COVID, which I got from going to Spiel Essen. So I guess we can talk about experience stuff later, but this is going to just be a haul and experience video for Spiel Essen, and I will resume with the weekly playback starting with next week when hopefully I have more energy and I can actually talk about how to play games and all of that good stuff. So I will, show you the games that I got at Essen and talk a little bit about them and talk a little bit about the experience of being at my second Essen, which was wonderful. So let's start with some review copies. I did not get too many review copies at this Essen actually, just a couple. So the first one I'm going to show you is Caracas. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Caracas. And this is Choices. It says Choices Affect Choices. It's a game by Peter Joustra and Corne van Moorsel, and it is published by Koali Games. They had reached out to me by email asking me to stop by their booth, saying that I have a review copy waiting for me. When I went to their booth, they gave me a quick demo of this game, and honestly, it sounds really good. Like, the artwork might not be super duper appealing, like the tiles, just very basic looking tiles and stuff, with different kinds of cool animals on them. Like South American kind of animals. I know that there's a capybara here somewhere. I don't know if I can find it right now. But the way they explained it, it sounds like a really cool game. Like, I was like, oh, that is very clever. The way in which you pick tiles and it's determined which tile you'll get next. So I'm actually really looking forward to playing this. So I know that Paul Grogan, who was also working for Dronda Games, like I was this year, he actually also picked up a review copy of this, and he also said that they were the only publisher who emailed him asking him to stop by to get a review copy. So I think that, they were emailing different kinds of reviewers, asking them to come by and pick up a copy of their game. And he also said it sounded really good, and that it was very clever with the way that the the decisions you make about how it affects your future decisions. So I'm really looking forward to playing that. So that is one review copy I picked up. Another review copy I got is for a game which I had previously discussed, which is the Strange Forgeries of Mr. S.C. Rheber by Gerardo Maria Priore. So I had talked about this game because I demoed it, I played a full game of it at UKGE this past May, and the designer, he's very nice. He watched my whole video and he really liked my explanation of the game, so he told me that I would be able to get a review copy from him at Essen. So he had one waiting for me, which he even signed the inside of the box for me, which is very nice. So I'm really looking forward to playing this again because I think that this is a very cool deduction or induction game, as he calls it. So I'm not going to show you too many of the components, but I'll just show you a quick look at the inside of the box and some of these cool little booklets that you will be drawing your little symbols and stuff in, marking your little symbols in rather. So I'm really looking forward to playing this, and it comes with these cool sheets because you'll be drawing images on these and then you'll be laying them out in your gallery. So it also comes with these gallery sheets that you'll be placing them into, and then of course there is like the main board for scorekeeping and such. So looking forward to playing this with my own copy, which was very kind of him. Like, I really enjoyed my play of this. I thought it was a very clever kind of induction game. So very cool of him to give me a copy of that. So that is a review copy as well. Some other review copies. So I stopped by this one booth. I only had the intention of picking up this one game, which is designed by this one designer named Zach Hokestra. I'm totally butchering that, I'm sure. So he is the designer of a game that I had played. God, what was it called? I covered it for its Kickstarter, Thera. So I really enjoyed his game Thera, which was about a volcano explosion. So when I saw his name on this, which, small card game with really cool cards about building up houses in Amsterdam, I was like, oh, I really need this. So I went and stopped by and I got a whole little explanation about the founder of this company, which is a collective of board game designers. And he gave me a whole explanation about their company, and he gave me this game as well as Time Zoo and Babel as review copies. So I'm really looking forward to playing all of these. Unfortunately, I don't think any of them have solo modes. And he also gave me a promo pack for all of the games. So for the promo pack for this game, it comes with like these like rainbow colored buildings and buildings with rainbows, rainbow flags for pride and so on. But let me just show you a couple of the cards. So yeah, you're just going to have different kinds of building cards and be building up different canal houses. So, you know, there's different layers of the houses. So like the bottom layer, not layer, levels. So yeah, so you're just going to be building up your levels of your canal houses in this game, which is called a Grockton Pond. I'm probably butchering that. So really looking forward to playing this. I really want to play that one. And then the next one, I guess, I mean, they all look really good, honestly. But Time Zoo has really cool artwork. It's about, you know, keeping animals, I guess, in a zoo from like a long time ago, like animals of the past. Yeah, so that just has cool extinct animals in it, like dinosaurs and stuff. And Babel, I don't know what Babel is about. So it's a cooperative card game where players strive to construct the mythical Tower of Babel. Interesting. Okay. And I guess you're just going to be having a hard time like communicating with each other because your languages will evolve. So that sounds really cool as well. I'm not a huge fan of cooperative games typically, but that sounds like it could be interesting. So yeah, so these were all review copies. So really looking forward to checking those out. And then finally, the last two review copies I have are Refuge from Bombix Games and Pixies from Bombix Games. So I was actually supposed to meet with the guy from Bombix last year at Spiel Essen, and we had a meeting scheduled, and then he became ill on the day of our meeting, so we did not get to meet. This is a bag building game, push your luck bag building game, by the way. The artwork is just really, really cool. Here is the main board. So anyway, so I just randomly stopped by and I was like, oh, is he around? You know, we were supposed to meet last year and he happened to be there. So we just had a quick chat and he just explained some of their new games to me. And I'm really looking forward to the new expansion of Lure Glow, but they don't have that available yet. But they did have this available and it comes with a whole bunch of different tiles, which I just put into baggies of my own. And you're going to be, from what I can remember from this demo, you're just going to be like drawing out tiles from your bag and creating your own kind of landscape. But there's a whole bunch of different tiles which I just stuck into individual baggies so that I can keep them easily separated. Each player will have their own bag with some of their own base tiles in it. So yeah, so I just kept those separated just to make it easier for myself to set up and everything. But let's see. Oh, and then it also has these cute little sheep tokens and stuff. So let me just show you some of those. So yeah, so up here you've got like little boot tokens, shoe tokens, and you've got little sheepies, which are super cute, and then just some player markers. So yeah, so I am indeed looking forward to playing this as well. I haven't played Quacks in a long time, which of course is a bag building push your luck game, but in this one you're going to actually be building out a landscape, so that just sounds a little bit interesting, like a different kind of take on maybe a push your luck bag building game where you're actually building out a landscape of some kind. So I wonder how that will be. So yeah, so this is a review copy, and then Pixies, which is part of their like salt and sea salt and paper line, I guess, is what he mentioned or said. So same kind of box size as sea salt and paper, and same kind of similar artwork where the artwork on these cards is actually little pieces of art or big pieces of art that were made and then photographed in various kinds of settings. So the artwork is just super duper cool. And he mentioned to me that some of these, like you can't tell from the photograph, of course, but some of them he said would be really small and then they actually look bigger here, or some of them were actually much bigger, but then they look shrunken here. So you can't actually tell the real size of what these pieces of art were before they were actually photographed for this. But Pixies seems like a pretty cool card game. Like he gave me a quick demo of that as well. So I am looking forward to playing that as well. So those are all the review copies that I received. So now let's go into games that I purchased. But before we actually do games that I purchased, one of the fun things about working at a convention is at the end of the convention on the last day, you get to do board game trades with other publishers who are also willing to do board game trades. So as I mentioned, I was working for Dronda Games for the second year in a row. And so Dronda Games is the publisher of Explorers of Novoria and the soon coming to Kickstarter game Mutagen. So they would give each of their workers a copy of Novoria, including the expansion, and you can go to any publisher you want and see if they're willing to trade with you for one of their games. So unfortunately, the big box games that I would have been interested in trading in, I had either already purchased by that time or they were all sold out. So like I was interested in getting Babylon, for example, but that was sold out, or Altair from Ares Games, which was also sold out. So in the end, I ended up trading my copy of Novoria for 2 small games from Looping Games, because I love Looping Games. I love their small box series, which I've talked about before on this channel. So I exchanged my copy of Novoria for 1980 Sixtina and Around the World in 80 Days. So that was really nice. So neither a review copy, but nor a purchase exactly. So kind of falls in the middle. So makes sense to show you guys in the middle. So if you guys know my channel, and you know I've talked about 1902 Melier before, which I really enjoyed, and I enjoy how these boxes have a lot of game in a small box. And this one is a flip and write game, or maybe it's a roll and write game. I'm not 100% sure, but there's really not that many components in here, which I really like. So I'll just show you. It looks like maybe this is a score track or a round tracker, I really don't know. And then the sheets just look like that. And then there's just a couple of cards, well, more than a couple rather. And then these. So yeah, so maybe I can just show you some of the cards. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing this. So yeah, and 1980 Sixtina, I think, is about what's the word, reviving the Sistine Chapel, or not renovating, but like just restoring the Sistine Chapel, maybe like the artwork, something like that. So yeah, so looking forward to playing these games because I do enjoy looping games. And yeah, so those are the games that I traded for. Now we can go into games that I purchased. So directly across from Dronda Games, well, I guess on one of the sides, because you know there's multiple sides to the booth. So on one of the sides, directly across the little alley, was this one Polish publisher called Lucrum Studio, and they had this game that they were showing off, which was their new game called Night Sky Explorers, which is about drawing constellations in the sky. So me and a fellow Dronda Games employee, after one of our shifts one day, went over and played this game. Now there's a really funny story about this. So we sat down, and then 2 other people sat down to play the game with us who spoke a different language. Like they weren't speaking English, but maybe they could, but I don't know. So the 4 of us sat down, and I guess they did speak English because, you know, we were all taught the rules in English. So anyway, we all learned how to play the game from the guy who, of course, was demoing this game. And according to him, you know, we're each going to select a certain set of constellation cards, and they're all numbered differently. So for example, let me just pull some out to show you. So like, for example, this card is numbered 10. So that would be harder to draw on your constellation board than, say, a card numbered 1, for example. So, and let me see if I can find a lower number card. So here's a level 7 card, for example. And so I'm not going to go into great detail about how this game plays, but basically you have a rotating board that's rotating as the night sky rotates, basically. And you're going to be drawing a constellation from one card and then rotating your board. And in the next round, draw a constellation from another card, and so on. But your constellations cannot intersect. You can't have them touching, and so on. So it's going to get trickier and trickier to draw your constellations. And the game is played over 6 rounds, which you'll be keeping track of on your board here. And this board also explains like your scoring. You're going to be writing down your score at the end of each round. round, and so on. So it's a really cool board and just a really cool mechanic with this like rotating sky and stuff. And at the end of the game, you'll also pull it out because there's also going to be other points that you score for which you need to pull out the whole sky in order to see. So when we were playing the game, we did not know that, well, how we were doing it is each player was basically playing their own solo game. So we each had a set of cards, and we were told that in each round you'll draw one constellation, then score it, rotate the sky, blah, 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 draw another one. So, you know, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, okay, in the first round I want to draw a level 10 card because obviously I have so much space. So I started from going from the highest number to the lowest, and like I could be on my second round and my, you know, friend could be on his third round. The other person could be on their first round because we weren't even paying attention to what anyone else was doing while we were playing the game. We were just going at our own pace, drawing our own constellations. And then at the end of the game, we scored. So we, you know, did our end of round scoring each round, and then we did our end of game scoring. And then we just kind of all compared scores to see who had the highest score. And then the guy who taught us the game came around and he's like, oh, how did it go? And we're like, oh yeah, that was nice, you know? And then one of the players, the other people, he's like, oh, what is this one card for? So there was this one card that just happened to be sitting there. And the demo person was like, oh, that's the first player card. And then we're all like, I think it was this card actually. And we didn't use it because we didn't know that there was supposed to be a first player and that, you know, you're supposed to take turns announcing which card you're supposed to draw in each round. And that's when we learned that we all played incorrectly, and we all played basically our own solo games of this game with our own made up rules. And yeah, and so really what you're supposed to do is have a first player in each round, and they're supposed to decide which number constellation everyone is going to draw. But instead, we were all just going at our own pace, doing our own thing, enjoying the game, and just having our own little solo constellation drawing sessions, which was fun and it was nice. So, but then, you know, that's why when he came around and he was asking us how the experience was, like me and my friend from Dronda, we were like, oh yeah, that was nice, but very much a solo experience, like no player interaction whatsoever. Like I would be on like round 3 and he'd be on like round 2 and whatever. And then that's when he's like, no, you guys played completely wrong. So yeah, but despite having played completely wrong, both me and my friend ended up buying the game because we both liked it, even though we played it completely incorrectly. And even though there was no player interaction, we still really enjoyed the game. We just enjoyed drawing constellations and trying to get them to fit and score as much as we could based on which stars we had connected, like within the constellation, because obviously you can't have constellations touching other constellations. So yeah, so that was just a little funny story about that game. But yeah, it was just funny. So that's one purchase. Another purchases, this was really high up on my list for Essen, which was Castle Combo. So I actually played I played a game of this one of the nights, I think the night I bought it actually. So we invited Luke from the Broken Meeple over to the hotel where we were all staying at, the Dronda team, and we played, I believe, a 5-player game of this, which was a lot of fun. So I'll just show you some of the cards. I'm not gonna like go into how it plays. I'll do that like in the next video. But I knew that I would really like this game. I like that doctor card, he's cool. I knew I would really like this game because I really enjoyed Far Away. Like when I went to Essen last year, Far Away was probably my most played purchase from Essen of last year from the same publisher, which is Catch Up Games. And Far Away also, as you know, is like a small boxish, like the size card game. The cats are meowing for some reason, I don't know why. So yeah, so this is a really fun like tableau building game, and the way in which you choose cards and everything is pretty interesting, and the way in which you are going to place them into your tableau is pretty interesting. So yeah, so I really enjoyed that game. So that's a purchase I made, which was high on my list. Don't know why my cats are meowing downstairs. Zaytuni! Maybe I should go check on them. Okay, I think they stopped meowing for now. Okay. Another 2 games I purchased from a different publisher. So one of my favorite games that I've kind of played within the last couple of years is called Hens, and the publisher of Hens, Little Rocket Games, I went to their booth and I picked up this game called Fall, which looks really adorable, but this is a 2-player only game, which is kind of unfortunate. So I just need to find one other player who will be willing to play this with me. But it comes with a nice little velveteen kind of bag and a bunch of different tiles with cool, like fallish looking artwork on them. Yeah, so just really pretty different colored leaves and symbols. Yeah, and a bunch of different like animal tokens and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to playing this because I really, really love the game Hens. So I hope that this will be good. So yeah, so again, a 2-player game. And then I also picked up from them this game called Dream, just because it looked cute. So let's see. So this is for 2 to 4 players, and it's just got really pretty, cool, like surreal looking artwork. So honestly, it was like the artwork that just really caught my attention. So yeah. So yeah, looking forward to playing this. So this was another purchase of mine. So both of these were from Little Rocket Games. What should we do next? Okay, I guess I'll do no, actually before I get into that, let me pull this game out. Okay, so this was a pre-order, so I backed this game on Kickstarter and picked it up. So, and that game is called Cat Packs. So this is from All or None Games. Last year at Essen, I had received a review copy from this publisher for Hidden Ark, which was really good, actually. I really enjoyed it, from the same designer, Tobias Hall, who owns this publishing company. So when I saw this on Kickstarter, I backed it because it's called Cat Packs and it just has such cool cat artwork in it. So I picked when I backed it, I had it for Essen pickup, so I picked it up from Essen. So I'm just going to show you some of the components. So I backed the all-in deluxe version. So these are like the various deluxe components. Like there are some stars or something here, some paw prints, some leaves and wooden tokens. And then these are the non-deluxe components, of course. And then there are these, which I guess every player needs. And I'm going to just show you some of the cards. This did come with a promo pack of some kind. So I've already like mixed in all the cards, but there's just different cards of cats and different like, so for example, here is like Miss Moon. Here, I've already sleeved all the cards. This is Scaredy Cat. This one is Cat Dolls, so cat candles. Meowsy, like Lionel Messi, which is pretty cool. Coven. So yeah, so they just have like these cats in these cool, like, you know, these cool little cat puns and stuff. Now one that I'm like, did they really think this through, or maybe they did this intentionally? So it's a cat shark. So honestly, I think it should have been called a cark instead of what they actually called it. So yeah, so that one is a little bit interesting. But yeah, just a whole bunch of different cat cards with cool, really cool cat artwork. And I did back the all-in, so I also got 4 play mats. So I'll show you the play mats that I got. And one of them, I can say, yay, I've actually experienced it now, because these are cats watching the northern lights. And there's been a lot of sun activity and geomagnetic, like thermal, whatever activity on Earth. So I was able to see the northern lights the other night, despite being sick from COVID. I still forced myself to go look at the northern lights and got some photographs here in upstate New York, which was pretty cool. So these are the 4-player mats that I have. And then I also got the art book just because I really, really liked the cat artwork. So I got the signed cat art book. Yeah. And for those of you who watch my weekly playbacks, you know that I'm like taking an art class, but I'm like nowhere near being able to draw like artwork this cool, which is quite sad. I wish I were, but obviously not there yet. Okay, so that's a game that I picked up. I'm going to show you games from all from one publisher now. So, one of the games that was high on my list was Paella Park. And that is from, I believe it's called Zombie Paella, is the publisher's name. Yeah, so this was really high on my list just because it looked really interesting, like the artwork and stuff. And according to the description, it's the only, or one of the only games that's about actually attending an amusement park instead of building an amusement park, which I think is pretty cool. But the artwork is just so freaking cool. So yeah, so comes with these sheets. I guess these are scoring sheets. I don't know. And I'm assuming you're gonna be like putting a bunch of stuff together. That's not right. So there's like different things you'll be putting together. There's like a whole amusement park that you'll be putting together. But yeah, just really, really cool aesthetic. Like, the aesthetic is just very cool. There's this thing, and this guy somehow attaches to it, but I haven't attached him yet. But I think he's supposed to like go here or somewhere. I don't know. But there's like other, smaller components. There's some player pieces. And then oh, I didn't open these cards. Oops. And I don't have scissors at the moment. Okay, I'm not going to be able to open these. But cool artwork, as you can see. So yeah, so really looking forward to playing this. Like, this was high up on my list. So I'm really glad I was able to get this. So yeah, so that is Zombie Paella. And from the same publisher, I picked up this game, which was their first game, the Zombie Paella. So that was the first game they ever published, apparently. And it's just a card game of some kind, but the cards have the same aesthetics, like same cool kind of artwork. So yeah, and there's just a whole bunch of different cards. So I'm not going to show you all of them, but yeah, so a bunch of different cards, and I'm looking forward to playing this as well. And they said that this was like some 10th anniversary edition or some special deluxe edition or something like that. Oh yeah, so it says collect 5 paella ingredient cards to win. But watch out, your ingredients and other treasures are visible, and players will use hidden battle cards and unpredictable special cards to try to steal them. It says more than 140,000 games and expansions sold in Spain. Wow. So they are from Spain. So that is the Zombie Paella. And from the same publisher, I picked up Rebel Princess. Now, I know that in America, this game was distributed by Bezier Games, which I know a bunch of people received review copies. I don't get review copies from them anymore. so I picked this up. So I picked this up when I was at Essen from Zombie Paella. But yeah, just really love the artwork in this game as well. So really looking forward to playing this, which is of course a trick-taking game. So yeah, so all 3 of these games I purchased from Zombie Paella. So moving on. So let me just show you a couple more small box games, and then I'll go to the big box games I have. So the first small box game I'll show you is Roaring 20s. Now this game I think is really good. I actually played a 3-player game of it the last night we were there at the hotel for Essen before everyone was leaving the next day. And I kept on, we weren't so far from Pegasus Spiel deep print games. So like whenever I needed to use the restroom, I would always pass by their huge area. And this was like the game that was like being advertised, like all of their like posters, like their huge poster things had to do with artwork from this game. So I took like a billion selfies with all the cool dinosaurs dressed from the 1920s. And honestly, I thought this was going to be like a big box game the way it was being advertised. So when I went to go purchase it without knowing anything about it and found out it was only 10 euros and it was this tiny little box, like very surprised. Like I was like so surprised because I had no idea. Like I thought it was going to be like a bigger Pegasus Spiel box, like Rat Race or whatever that game was, First Rat on the Moon or something like that. So yeah, but this is a small card game, bidding game, which is so much fun. I really, really enjoyed my play of this, like really, really good. So let me just show you some of the cards. So like here are some of the food cards and gem cards that you would be like bidding with on various dinosaurs. And so let me show you some of the dinosaurs who are all dressed up and look so fancy. Like they're just 1920s dinosaurs. And I do love the 1920s, which was like Wow, like 100 years ago, which is insane, right? Because we're in the 20s. It's 2024, yeah, right? So yeah, I think we're in the 20s. So yeah. Yeah, so this game is really good. So just a nice little small box game that I picked up, and I'm glad I did because it's really good. Really enjoy playing this. So that I purchased. Another game I purchased is The Cat in the Tower. So we actually played this one night, and I'm not the biggest dexterity fan, but and even that night when we played it, I was like, I wasn't like totally sold on it. What is it, Zaytoon? Come here. We're talking about cats. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just very meowy right now. Come here, mister. Come. Want to see some cat meatballs? Come. So yeah, so we played this one night, and here, let me see. Can I grab you? Show you? No? Okay, fine. Maybe he'll come back. Sorry. Okay, so we play this one night, and basically you're building up a cat tower, and you're gonna like have these action cards, which will tell you which kinds of levels you need to add to your cat tower, and you'll be having to move different meeples. You might even have to pet the meeples and prevent the tower from falling down, and so on. Apparently, like there's like some ultimate like level if you can get to like level 20, like you're like a pro at it or something. And honestly, I don't know who on earth could get to level 20 in this game, because that just seems like impossible. But anyway, so like I said, I wasn't like the biggest fan of it like when I was playing it. But then I think like a day or two later, one of my friends from Jonda, he had a morning shift and I had an afternoon shift, and he's like, oh, if you're free, could you go pick up a copy of this game for me? I'd really like it. So I got in line, and the FOMO got to me. Like when I saw that, oh, they had only 24 copies left that morning, I was like, oh, maybe I should get it. And then I started thinking, oh, maybe it would be fun just on my own to see how far up of a tower I could build without other people like interfering with my tower. I can just do it on my own. So I ended up getting a copy for myself in the end, one of the last 24 copies, just because the FOMO got to me, and it is about cats and stuff like that. So I ended up buying a copy in the end anyway, even though it's a dexterity game. And then the last small box thing is one of those Similo things that you get. So this is like their 2024 edition. So every year Horrible Guild does this thing where they work with different publishers to get the publishers' board games on cards, and then they have basically created a game out of it. Of course, there are no rules in here. You have to like scan it for the rules, but usually what they do is like they use new releases from Spiel Essen that year. Like this is a game I had wanted, but that sold out on the first day, which was Altai. Pixies. Yeah. So yeah, so just a bunch of different games that were at Essen, being released at Essen this year. Was that the Cat Tower game that I was just talking about? I don't know. Anyway, so that I got because I purchased a game from somewhere and it came with the copy that I purchased. So now let me go into the big box games that I purchased, which is, and there's only 3 of them. So the very first game I went to get when I was at Essen is Tea Garden from Alibi Games. So I heard that this is really good. I heard, you know, that Galileo Galilei is really good from the same designer. He's a new designer, Thomas Holek. He's an up-and-coming designer. So yeah, so I was really excited to pick this up. So I had a morning shift on Thursday, and since I'm working for a publisher, I of course get to get into the halls earlier than like just general attendance people. So I ran to this booth, and they had a new rule this year that they would not sell any early games. So if you went the night before, like last year when I went to Essen, I had started my purchasing Wednesday night. Like I went to the halls on Wednesday night and purchased a number of games. This year you could not do that. Like apparently the publishers would get fined if they sold any early games before Thursday and before opening time each day. So officially they were not allowed to start selling any games until 9:30. So because I had heard so much about this new designer and how amazing his games are, and this game looked really good, it was the first place I went to, and I picked up a copy of Tea Garden, which was really awesome of them, that I was able to buy this before my morning shift. So at 9:30, this was the first game that I purchased. So I'll just show you the main board. Oh, look at how pretty that is. So, okay, it's upside down, but so pretty. Really looking forward to playing this. And I'm lucky I went on Thursday first thing to pick this up, because Luke from the Broken Meeple, he had later then tried getting a copy and they would not sell one to him. They kept on telling him that no, it's for pre-orders only. I guess they were like starting to run out of games or something like that. So every time he would go and ask them for a copy, they kept on telling him, nope, they're only for people who pre-ordered it only. But then he was luckily able to get one on the last day because some people did not pick up their pre-orders or something like that. So yeah. And it did come with some promo cards as well, which I like mixed in with the regular cards. So I think, so I'm not going to really be able to distinguish those for you right now. But yeah, just a bunch of different components. I'll just show you some of the components. But yeah, actually I'll just show you the insert. I'm sure you could probably go online and see the components in detail if you wanted. But there's just like a bunch of these different kinds of tiles. It's just a very pretty game. Very pretty. Yeah. I guess each player has maybe their own color. So like these are blue, there's yellow, there's green, and this like reddish color. So yeah, and then a bunch of tea leaves and stuff like that. So yeah, so that is a Tea Garden. So very much looking forward to playing this. And again, this was the first game that I purchased. Where is the main, oh no, is that the main board? Yeah, that's the main board. Okay, so this again was the first game that I purchased. The second game I purchased is a game by the same designer, and that is Galileo Galilei. So this one I was super excited about. Because I love astronomy. So this was the second game that I purchased. Let me just show you the board. So yeah, that looks really nice. I spent all day yesterday unboxing like all of these games. Like, oh my god, it took forever. And sorting them out. Different player colors. So you've got like this burnt orange, this like beige color, blue, and pink. A player board looks like this. This is like your telescope. And there are like different, oh no, what happened here? Oh no. There's different astronomers, I believe, that you're playing as. Where are those astronomer boards? Oh, here they are. So yeah, I mean, I think you're playing as different astronomers. I'm not like 100% sure. So yeah, yeah, so that's that. And then just a bunch of different components, like these really cool, like astronomy, like cards and stuff like that. It's just very, very cool. Just looks really good. Like, I think this looks like a solid space game. And from what I've heard, it's a pretty good game. So yeah, so really looking forward to playing this. So that was the second purchase I made. I did not get the designer's other game, Seti from Czech Games. That one didn't really interest me much, to be honest. So I didn't even get a demo of it. Like, I know that they had demos of it at UKGE, and I just wasn't that interested in it at that time either. So these two are the two games from the designer I got. And then finally, the last big game I got is Oranges and Lemons. So this is a game that kind of piqued my interest. It's a pick up and deliver game that takes place in Old England, I believe 18th century England, if I'm remembering correctly. This did get damaged in the way, unfortunately. So my box is completely destroyed. Not the best box, I guess, but oh well. So yeah, so Oranges and Lemons. And let me just pull out the board, which looks really big, so I'm not sure I'll be able to show you the whole board. Okay. There you go. Maybe you can see it. And then the back has the artwork of the main box on the front. Oh, you know what I mean. So it has the artwork, the box artwork on the back of this main board, which is pretty cool. So it's got nice artwork on the back, and this is what different player boards look like. Yeah, so really looking forward to playing this. Got a bunch of different components. Ooh, let's see. End game scoring thingy. It looks like there's maybe a score pad. A bunch of different like tiles and stuff. Yeah, just a bunch of different stuff. A bunch of different cubes. So yeah, from what I know, it's like a pick up and deliver game. So, and a bunch of coins. So yeah, so this was the big box scheme, the last one that I purchased, and I think that's my entire Essen haul then. Yeah, so not as big of a haul as last year, I think, which is a good thing, because last year I feel like I got way too many games, and there are still games which I haven't even played from last year's haul, which is pretty bad. So yeah, so that's one of the downsides of being a content creator. Like, you just have so many games to cover and, you know, not enough time to play everything. So there are games from last year which I have not yet had the opportunity to play. And yeah, eventually I'll get to them. Eventually I'll get to all of these. So yeah, so let me know which of these games you would be interested in playing first. I honestly, gosh, I really want to play Cat Packs. I really want to play Paella Park. I really want to play Tea Garden and Galileo Galilei. Like, I don't know. I want to play all of them, to be honest. Like, they all just look really good. But I also have Kickstarters that I need to cover, which are coming up soon. So we'll see what I get played first. But yeah, if you know, which of these games would you want to see covered first, though? Let me know. I mean, oh yeah, that Caracas game, I really want to play that as well. So yeah, so lots of games that I want to play and just not enough time, unfortunately. So yeah, so I guess I'll just talk a little bit about Essen. So yeah, as usual, it was just a really great experience. It's a very tiring experience because with Essen, it's 4 days. It's not like other conventions I attend where I'm just attending for fun or as a content creator and I get to decide how long I want to stay. Like here, I'm working every day, like half a day every day, and then the other half of the day I have free to myself. But still, when you have it free to yourself, like, you know, you're trying to meet friends or you're just trying to get the games you want and so on. And so you're basically there all day and then, you know, meeting up for dinner and doing other things in the evening, playing games and stuff. So it's a very exhausting experience. And of course I got COVID, which was not fun. So before going to Essen, I went to Copenhagen for a couple of days, which was nice. And then Essen, let's see, one of the highlights of Essen is that I pitched my game to like my all-time favorite publisher, and they want me to put it on Tabletop Simulator for them to play in January. So I'm going to be working really hard to get my game onto Tabletop Simulator so that they can play it and hopefully love it and hopefully publish it. Like, you know, it's like it would be a big enough deal like if any publisher decided to publish my game, but like if my favorite publisher published my game, like that would just be unbelievable. Like the fact that they reached out to me was really just unbelievable. So you know, they sent me an email and they're like, hey, would you like to meet up to, you know, pitch us your game? And I was like, seriously? Like they're asking me to pitch my game to them? So I did, and it was really cool talking to them. They said that one of the guy I spoke to said that one of the reasons he really wanted to, you know, just talk to me, or one of the reasons that he wanted to give me a chance and listen to me pitch my game is because he appreciates that I, you know, care a lot about other things that are going on in the world and not just board games. And he said he doesn't always agree with what I have to say, but he appreciates how outspoken I am about, like, for example, Palestine and other issues that I really care about. So we had a nice little chat about that. And then I pitched him my game. And then he said, put it on TTS and we'll play it in January. And then we can have talks then and see if it's a game that would work for us. So that's really cool. And then I have another designer / publisher friend who I'm going to be working on a solo game with that has to do with one of an IP that I really love. I'm not gonna name names or give any more details right now, but this is something that we had talked about last year, and then we exchanged some emails and it didn't really go that far. And then we reconnected at Essen this year, and he has new ideas and I have new ideas, so we're really gonna try to make it work this time. So I'm really excited about that. And he also said that he would help me to put my elephant game on TTS. So he's gonna help me with that as well, which is really, really awesome. Of course, it was just really great meeting with all of my industry friends and stuff at the convention. Sadly, I did not get to see everyone that I wanted to see, but it was just a really good experience. What is he tuning? Oh, yeah. What else? Funnily enough, I did not see a single stray cat anywhere in Copenhagen or Germany. Weird. But that's a good thing, I guess, right? Like no stray cats or indoor outdoor cats, I guess. What else? For our team dinner for Dronda, like last year we went to this one Arab restaurant, which I really like, called Arabesque. And our team, Aiden and Dronda had decided that we would not go to that restaurant again for our team dinner this year because last year's service was just so slow. So this year we ended up going to this Asian restaurant, which we had gone to dinner for another night last year. And oh my God, the service there ended up being slower than it was at the Arab restaurant last year. So it was just kind of hilarious, but kind of also just sad. So we're sitting there for like hours without getting any food, and they just kept on messing things up, like even with the appetizers. And not everyone was getting their appetizers at the same time. The appetizers were completely staggered, and we didn't get our main meal until like more than 2 hours. I think it was 2.5 hours after arriving there. So then Aiden was joking that next year we're just all gonna get Domino's for our team dinner, which would not be fun. I don't want Domino's pizza. So I was like, just give us 20 euros each and we can just get our own food and then just meet up at the hotel and eat and play games. But that was just a funny experience. But these things bring us closer together. But it was just a nice, memorable experience just because it was funny. What else? After Essen, I guess I can talk about after Essen. Well, first of all, this year at Essen, while working for Dronda, I was at the front register. And at first I thought, oh, this is so great. Like, I'm going to be able to save my voice. I'm just going to be checking people out. Like, I'm just checking people out, not like checking them out, like checking out their purchases. I mean, like, checking them out. Like, yeah. So I thought ringing people out, I guess is the word to say. So I thought it would be really great. Like, oh, I'm not going to have to use my voice as much because I'm going to be ringing people's purchases out and stuff like that. Not true. So I think I actually ended up using my voice more at the front register than I would have if I were demoing a game like I did last year. Because when you're demoing a game, you explain the game and then you're basically done. And then you're just sitting there while people are playing the game and you get to give your voice a nice rest. When you are at the front desk, that is not the case. So I had to basically explain how to play Navoria 1 billion times to people. Like, so we would have the board set up on the front table as well, even though it was being demoed elsewhere, because not everyone would get a chance to demo it. So people would come up and they would want to know how it plays. So I basically had my Navoria spiel down to 2 minutes. In fact, Aiden from Dronda Games timed me at one point to see how long it takes me to explain the entire game. And it was 2 minutes. I have to go back and watch my overview video that I did for the Kickstarter and see how long that was. And then see which explanation is better now, whether it was the one that I would give at Spiel or the one that I did for my overview video. But yeah, so I would basically explain the game in 2 minutes, and then, I'd explain it and then be like, oh, thank you. And then they wouldn't buy, then they'd move on. And then someone else would come along and be like, can you explain this to me? And then I would do it all again. And it would just be so frustrating when you would spend like 2 minutes explaining the game to someone and then they don't buy it. It's just like really, really sad. You are just, using your voice and talking really loud so they can hear you in this really loud convention center, and then they don't buy the game and they just leave, and it's just really, really sad. But yeah, I used my voice so freaking much, and yeah, I don't know who I got COVID from. So before Spiel started, Simon, who is one of the owners of Dronda, he tested positive for COVID and he left. He didn't even get to experience Spiel. So he left. He stayed in the hotel all of the first day, and then he managed to get an early flight back to England. So he did not get to even experience Spiel since he had tested positive before the convention even began. And so then I kept on joking, oh, we're all gonna get COVID because like he had it and then we're all hanging out together. So surely he must have passed it on to someone else and we're all gonna get it. But like apparently no one else from the Dronda team got it. I got it and then Luke Hector got it. And he sat next to me like that one day where he came over and we played games together. But like no one else from Dronda got COVID. Like not even the people who drove over to Germany with Simon in the car. Like, I'm just like, how did this happen? Like, how did I get it? I don't know. So yeah, so it's just not fun. I don't know, but I don't think I would have been able to wear a mask because I had to talk really loud. And I think people might not have been able to hear me as well in that case. Oh, I did get recognized. That's really nice. So yeah, I got recognized by a number of people while I was at Spiel, which was really cool. And a lot of people actually came up to me out of the people who recognized me and said that they really appreciate me for being outspoken about the genocide in Palestine. So that's really cool. So every time someone said that, I really appreciated it. And it just goes to show that you should really just stick to your beliefs and, you know, stand up for what you believe in and don't worry about how it's going to impact your business or impact your content creation. Of course, there are people who are going to want to have nothing to do with you, but there are going to be people who appreciate that you stand for something and that you're on the right side of history and that you stand for something and that you care about things that are happening in the world, that your whole life is just not board games. So yeah, so that was just really nice. And it was nice to just hear people say that they find my content valuable. So people who would recognize me, who would come to the Dronda Games booth and would tell me like, oh, we find your videos really helpful. That's just really, really nice to hear. So yeah. You know, I think in a world of like, you know, I always say like, yeah, I was like the first person on TikTok who was making these overview videos, but now like there's a billion board gamers on TikTok, but I still have kind of kept, you know, to the original format, and which is just a straight up overview. I'm not like trying to infuse it with humor or like skits or anything like that. So I think that that still kind of sets me apart from a lot of TikTok board game creators who, you know, are funny and do humorous things, which I don't because I'm not funny. So, so yeah, so that's that. Oh yeah, so then afterwards, I had the longest journey home. So on Monday, I took a train to Cologne, Germany, because I had a flight from Cologne that night at 10 p.m. to go to London. So obviously, the trains in Germany, oh my God, the delays and everything, just terrible, which reminds me, I still need to try to get a refund for a train that was canceled. So anyway, I ended up waiting at the train station, like on the platform with my luggage for over an hour for a train, which was delayed after another one had already been canceled. And then I got to Cologne and I put my luggage in storage, and then I went to go see the cathedral, which is just so freaking impressive. Like just honestly so impressive. Like it's a Gothic cathedral and wow, just really, really stunning. And this is crazy, but I actually climbed the over 500 steps to get to the top of one of the towers. I don't know why I did that, especially as I had a kind of like a heavyish backpack with me and a tote bag. But yeah, so I did that right after Spiel. Yeah, so I was really, really sore the next day, as you can imagine, but I went up over 500 stairs to get to the top. And at one point I started regretting it when I looked down and saw how high up I was and started kind of panicking. But then I was like, okay, just don't look down, just keep going, keep going. You've made it this far. So yeah, so I made it to the top, which was very cool. It was just really kind of cool to like get that far up and then just imagining how they built this thing that is so freaking tall, like, and back in the day, and it took them hundreds and hundreds of years to build. And I'm just like, I don't know how they did it back in a time when they didn't have like cranes and other kinds of construction equipment that we have these days. It's just honestly such a seriously impressive building. So yeah, so then I flew that night from Cologne to London. I had a 10 p.m. flight, and then I had some friends pick me up from the airport in London, and they just kept on taking the wrong turn, and it just took a long time to get to their house. I only got a couple of hours of sleep that night, and then I had a flight the next morning. So took, got on the tube to get to the airport, and then had a morning flight to Boston. And then from Boston, one more flight to upstate New York, but it was really exhausting because I know this is just all stuff you probably don't care about. But at Boston, I had to actually collect my luggage and then recheck it in at a different terminal. And I didn't realize the terminals would be so freaking far. And I'm sick with COVID at this point. Like, I literally did nothing but sleep on the flight from London to Boston. And so having to drag all of my luggage, including my all play bag with all of the board games in it, from one terminal to another in Boston was just awful. But yeah, I managed in the end. And then of course I tested positive for COVID when I got home, and have just been sleeping a lot since. Yeah, so anyway, so I guess that was my Spiel Essen experience. God, I cannot talk today. I blame it on the brain fog. Like, I honestly think that every time I get COVID, I'm lowering my life expectancy by like 20 years or something like that. This is my third time with COVID, and I'm pretty sure that I've just knocked off like another God knows how many years off of my life. And I just make my brain foggier and foggier and foggier. Like, I'm pretty sure the last 2 times I had COVID are, it's part of the reason why I have such a crap short-term memory now and just like brain fog like all the time. So yeah, so not good. So I'm really hoping I don't ever get it again. It's just not fun. But yeah, so I guess that was my Essen experience. I don't know if I've forgotten to talk about anything. But yeah, so I guess that's it. But yeah, just to wrap up, I do have a number of Kickstarters coming up that I need to cover. And I'm hoping to get back into the weekly playback starting next week. And one of the Kickstarters that I'm going to be covering, I'm really excited about. It looks like the most amazing roll and write game ever, which is 10 from Ivy Games. So really, really looking forward to playing that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing all of these games. I just really, really need to find the time. I just need to stop watching so much TV and start playing more board games and working on my game and putting it on TTS. But anyway, just let me know if you have any questions about Essen, and leave them in the comments below, or any comments, and let me know which game out of all of these games that I showed you today that you would like me to cover first for you guys. Of course, there were games on my Spiel Essen list which I did not get a chance to pick up, like for example, Babylon. But then I asked them and they said that hopefully Babylon will be available in the United States, I think in January, they said, or something like that. So not too far off, so no big deal. But yeah, I guess that's it. So until next time, bye.